I'm probably going to do this for the first 5 episodes. You know what I left in my car? I got it right now, and I messed it up. I left my dang confetti thing. I brought it today.
So this is the third time, fourth time you talked about this?
Just a second.
And haven't...
Just a second.
I'm trying to turn these knobs and make sure everybody can hear us well.
We got some... I'll tell you, we keep getting high tech in here. Take after take. That's what that says. It says Carl Prather, 48 Sports. That is me. Producer Pat.
In small font. I like how it's small.
You know they ain't gonna give you too much damn credit in here. They ain't gonna do that. Producer Pat, alongside yours truly. Man,
that's too much. Too much on my volume turn.
I've had the largest smile on my face since Monday. This is Thursday that we're recording this. For those watching us with the visuals, of course, for those who will be listening to the podcast tomorrow. What a college football season!
It's pretty good.
Absolutely outstanding. So we have brought you over to the dark side. This is your second full season?
Second full season of college football.
I have to ask you before we kind of get into, obviously, what was on Monday night. Has year 2 been even better than year 1, but more importantly, have you continued to fall in love with the college aspect of football?
I have enjoyed year 2 more than I did year 1.
I respect it.
I like the chaos. I like the new blood that has entered college football. I like the Kirk Cignettis of the world. I like the fact that Texas Tech has come on. And what I don't know if you could have ended a college football season better than the way it ended Monday night with what is the what I would guess, and I'll defer to you, the most improbable 2-year run of any college football program, I would say.
The most incredible I've seen. I'm 43. I've not seen.
And maybe of any sport, any team in any sport.
You know, I think what really helps Indiana in their case for what you just mentioned is because any of your kind of quote unquote miracle deals that have happened in sports, whether it's the Miracle on Ice. Whether it's NC State improbably winning the national championship in basketball, any of your center Villanova, it's the fact that it was a one-off.
Yeah.
But Indiana took a lot of, you know what, a season ago for reaching said playoff, hadn't played anybody, weak schedule, made it to the playoff, and not only make it to the playoffs, you lose the first round. See, we can pretend that we did not hear this from the masses, those that, no disrespect to college football fans, because that's what makes fans amazing, the passion, the unbelievable fervor that you have for this sport. But it was see, I told you it wasn't that good. They shouldn't even made the playoff.
I think that was me last year. I think I probably said it on this podcast.
It definitely was you.
Yeah, I've come around though.
Now, here we are, 12 months later, 16-0, national champions. Now, I don't know if this is good or not. There's only been one other team that's finished 16-0. They played before the forward pass was legal. And when the forward pass was legal in college football in 1906. There's only been 2 of them. So in some world, no matter who you are, if you're worth your salt, you have to say to yourself, yeah, this is amazing. And they were the best team.
And we thought, I know we said this last year on the podcast, we thought with the NIL and the transfer portal that there would probably never be another undefeated team again. And then
surprise,
there was one this year.
Surprise.
So
they're just amazing. Indiana takes care of Miami 27-21. The game went exactly how I thought when we discussed this last week. I thought that Miami would have a pair of turnovers that would be the difference. Ironically enough, a punt was blocked for them to score, Indiana.
Which it didn't even look like Indiana was trying to block the punt.
No. And then the flip side to it, of course, the interception late from Carson Beck, which in some form or fashion, I thought that a late turnover would be the difference in the game, and ultimately it was. But for anyone that thought that this was going to be some sort of blowout or Indiana wasn't going to, or Miami wasn't going to cover I just didn't see it that way just because how physical at the lines of scrimmage Miami is. And let's be real, we've seen it the entire year, and we've seen it during the college football playoff run. Mesidor and Bain were just out of their mind. And 99 had a play that maybe arguably, if you really want to get in the weeds, had one play in this game that may be one of the best plays of all of college football during the year. Shed tackle, A-gap, grab dude by one arm, threw it. Like, it was fun to watch, and it was really fun to watch the adversity from Indiana, Patrick, when, quote-unquote, maybe Fernando Mendoza didn't have his best stuff. But even with not having his best stuff, the team sticking to I remember, John Harbaugh saying this in Michigan and his dad and stuff, always you say the team. Well, that's what mattered in this contest. Everyone played together. I think maybe one of the only mistakes, in my opinion, that I saw I was about to choke on my saliva. The only mistake that I kind of quote-unquote saw, and it was something little, but it shows you just that's all it takes for a score. Mark Fletcher goes on the long touchdown run, and I had some friends watching the game at that time, and everyone was looking at me thinking like that I basically just guessed out of the blue while watching the game. I was like, if Mark Fletcher bounces this outside, he's going to run for a long way. And he did, and he scored. Everybody's looking at me like, give me your phone, dude. You, but it's just because Indiana traditionally doesn't really do that. So yeah, guys didn't fit the play right, and Mark Fletcher got to the line of scrimmage, bounced it out, took it out off tackle, and he ran for the score. But that outside of that, it just was a team win. Credit to Kirk Cignetti and Fernando Mendoza and the offensive coordinator for Indiana to call his own number and go for it on fourth down. One of my coaching buddies was over watching the game with me on Monday, Patrick, and he actually called that during that drive. He said, at some point in one of these snaps, Mendoza's going to keep this. And, of course, the draw there on 4th and 5, which is an unbelievable effort.
Legendary.
It was legendary. To see him dive over, you'll see that picture. That's one of those Sports Illustrated. If you remember being able to get Sports Illustrated as a kid in the 90s, that's just one of those that, if Sports Illustrated was like in heavy publication as it was in the 90s, that would be on the front cover. It was amazing. It almost didn't seem like we were even going to get to Fernando Mendoza at that point because early in that contest, he got absolutely rocked in that game.
Yeah, they were trying to punk him.
They tried to test him.
They tried to punk him.
You think they tried to punk him, huh?
Yeah.
Big boy stuff, huh?
Big boy stuff.
He did not care.
Didn't work.
He did not care.
It didn't work. But, yeah, because those hits were... I mean, listen, if it was the 70s, it wouldn't have mattered.
Wouldn't have mattered.
But it's 2025, and we've seen 2026. Man, we got to say that now. It's 2026.
2026.
And some of these hits now, it seems like if you even sneeze on the quarterback, you get a flag. And they just straight up, right underneath the jaw, should have been targeting.
We always go back to, if you remember watching the game on Monday, you will go back to, oh man, you want to let them play at the line of scrimmage and let them play out in the secondary. A lot of handsy out there on the perimeter for Miami DBs. I just love the competitive nature of players in this contest and Miami not backing down. We've seen enough during this run for Miami that makes me believe that maybe Mario Cristobal, regardless of what returns, what's gone there, what comes back, maybe they've, much like we mentioned Ole Miss a week ago, maybe they've broke through in the mindset of having the right mindset to be able to not lose games that were like kind of the head scratcher games. Like, how in the world did they lose that game? Maybe they've overcome that in the midst of this run this year, much like I personally believe with Ole Miss, they'll be able to do that. But to culminate a college football season with that game made my heart super, super happy just because I know we talk a lot about, Patrick, the state of the game, transfer portal. We got cats that have signed NBA contracts, going to play basketball this week, the whole nine. But I don't think in my life I've ever been more in love with the game of college football than I ever have before. And the 90s were amazing for college football. And the 2000s, the late 2000s, early 2010s, outstanding. But at this very moment, you can discuss and talk about the transfer portal that you don't like, the quote-unquote old player, when in theory, it's not the old player. It's just about how many snaps and reps they've had in previous schools. Like, that's what you need to worry about. How many times have they been able to do this? Who cares about the age? But I am just so excited at the direction of college football from the game standpoint and what we're getting on the football field. I don't think we've seen quality of play and fun football at the collegiate level as we have now. Yes, we don't know. We don't know what offensive line is good. Like, are there any dominant offensive lines in college football? Miami may be the closest one. Indiana may be the closest ones, right? Do we see any dominant defensive lines? And what I mean by dominant, more than 4. Lines of scrimmage play is not as what it needs to be, Patrick, in my personal opinion. However, just the overall nature of the game, from the on-field product to programs that, i.e. Indiana, that prior to the name, image, and likeness era, we would never even think of potentially not only reaching the college football playoff, winning multiple games, but more importantly, winning a national championship. And we mentioned this the first year we started this podcast back in the summer 2 years ago, recalibrating the mind for college football fans. And all I simply meant with that is we're in an era where we went from 4 teams to 12 teams, eventually 16 teams. And the excitement and completely removing the regionalized nature of our game to make it a national game so that fans in the Pacific Northwest, the southwestern part of the state, the Northeast, the Southeast, the Midwest, everyone has a long, viable hand in having excitement of being able to have an opportunity to see said program U go a very long way or make a chance to reach the college football playoff and have a chance to win a national championship. It's all that you can ask for. I get it, man. I get it. I understand how people, you may not like the direction of the monetary aspects of it, but in turn, if you are an alum or current student, a fan of IU football in Bloomington, this iteration of college football is the very reason why you are a national champion right now. And we don't know if that could ever be the case 15 years ago. And that's where we are, and that's in my personal opinion. That's why I think that it's only going to continue to improve, and the excitement and the fervor and the marketability of this sport is going to continue to grow. I think it's going to be even better next year.
Yeah, I mean, all of the people who sort of poo-pooed this expansion, they were real quiet for this playoff. I think because you got fantastic finish after fantastic finish, and it culminated with the most unlikely of college football programs hoisting a national championship. And so, to your point, if you are a fan of any university out there that's in a P4, theoretically, you are only 1.5 to 2 years away from being able to hold a national championship trophy. That's appealing for a lot of people. That's bringing a lot of people into the tent of college football. And when you are trying to expand anything, that is the biggest thing. How many new fans can we make? It's not about the people like me and you that are going to watch. It's about like the people like my wife who get introduced to Fernando Mendoza, who is now going to likely follow him. She's like, oh, he's going to be on the Raiders. Okay, we'll have to watch the Raiders next season. Like, that's how you make fans and have them sustain over a long period of time.
It was really cool. You know, obviously, you see so much on social media after the game and a couple of days after the game. There was one tweet, and I'll have to find it and put it up on from a visual standpoint within our podcast. There was a man that was at Kirk Cignetti's first game inside in Bloomington, and it was just, you know, a handful of fans in there for that first game. He was like, what a difference 2 years make. The guys won everywhere. He talked a lot of, you know what, talked a lot of cash, you know what. I don't think there's only a handful of guys that are able to evaluate and then retain and develop or improve said players better than Kirk Cignetti, and the proof is in the pudding just from the last 2 years. I say this all the time. I think it's very ironic that there are a faction of college football fans today, we're filming this on January 22nd on a Thursday, that still, without a shadow of a doubt, feel like something is wrong with Indiana winning this national championship. They've cheated. They manipulated said system that's in place.
I mean, they are 2 years younger than the Green Bay Packers who play professional football in terms of like an average age of their starter.
And I always say to that, when we look at this, man, this is an old team. Help me out, Patrick. Alabama could go and get cats at James Madison.
Right.
Alabama can go get cats at Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State, Elon, McNeese State, Sam Houston State. You can get. See, I have the utmost respect, and I'm a paying customer for years for recruiting services. Rivals, 247, On3. Love all that they do. The excitement that they bring to make prospects that you may or may not know, information that you may not know behind paywalls. It's great. There is less than 0.1% of coaches that give a flying you know what about those rankings and what the stars you get. Are you able to evaluate, develop, and fit players to your schematics that you need to make you successful? Dollars and cents matter. Indiana has a lot of it. But help me out, Patrick. If you're a Power 4 program in college football, Big 10, SEC, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12 coming back this upcoming college football season, they ain't got no money. So when you see Indiana or you see teams, the Texas Techs of the world, and I get it, everyone doesn't have billionaires, multiple billionaires, like Cody Campbell at Texas Tech and Texas A&M in Texas. It's a lot, right? But help me out. You mean tell me Cal can't go back up the Brinks truck and go get players? See, everybody keeps talking about always getting players, buying these and getting these contracts. What about the development and that evaluation and putting said players in the right spot? See, we forget all about that.
About getting the right players too.
Getting the right players. See, all you see, oh my gosh, look, he's got 32 stars. He's got to be good, right? Or he was a former. You got D2 players, FCS players, D3 players. You got players that can fit needs and help you. But see, fans, all they want to see is, oh my God, man, we got 15 4-stars. Who cares? Especially in this day and age. If this doesn't prove to casual college football fan, diehard college football fan that doesn't want to shake the fact that we have the Indiana Hoosiers as national champions, if these things don't recalibrate your mind the way that you think, it never will. But you'll keep running your head into the wall, busting your head to the white meat, blood everywhere, and believing that on the 16th time that you run yourself into the wall, that this is going to change. No. You need to be prepared. This is what this is. And more importantly, if you are a dominant program in the last 15 years of college football and a perennial national championship winner or contender, and you are not deep diving and evaluating and developing said talent for what you need and get away from, regardless of what darn star a player has, you'll be out of a job and somebody else will come fill that job for you and try to recreate the magic that you had back when you didn't have NIL and you didn't have the transfer portal. That's the biggest misconception once again, and that's all I want. I just want everyone, as college football fans moving forward in the 2026 season, when you see your roster, go look at the roster, look at transfer portal players, and say to yourself, it's easy. I know you may not know what you're looking at. Hell, I love offensive line and defensive line play. I don't know what the hell offensive line and the proper foot placement and how to reach and pull. I don't know all that. I want to continue to learn that. I'm not in the weeds with that, but I tell you what I can do. I can go to YouTube or there are a myriad of ways for you to go and find players and look and say, I think that guy can fit in what we got going on. This player from this school, that's what you need to look at. Quit looking at them stars. High school talent, high school recruiting is vastly important. I think it's not 90-10 or 95-5 like it used to be in the 80s, in the 90s, and whatever it may be. Patrick, it's find what you need for the transfer portal, continue to develop and evaluate said talent for high school. Hope that you're able to retain said talent when you get them to your campus in high school. But then ultimately, your coaching staff, all your analysts and all your position coaches and your strength and conditioning, all of that matters. It's not a coincidence, the whole beautiful picture of Indiana football while they're here at this moment. And it's a credit to Kirk Cignetti. It's a credit to football coaches that understand the value, as you mentioned, of football players. Not stars, football players. And I just hope that it gives hope to college football programs, especially at the Power 4 level, to believe that we have a legitimate chance if we do this the right way and stick to what makes us successful, that you can be the next Indiana, or you can start the process of reaching the college football playoff and making inroads that way, that you can perennially be in there, every year, every other year, or an 8, 9, 10 win year. There should be no excuse for any P4 program to not strive for that.
It feels like with Indiana's win, it's almost the beginning of a new era and the closing of an old one. The Alabamas, the Ohio States, that sort of blue blood dominance built on a lot of getting a lot of really talented freshmen and sort of developing, whereas Indiana went, it's Cignetti's lines, it's productivity over potential. These are guys who are already playing football who then came together, because essentially right now college football, just everybody's on a one-year deal.
Correct.
Coaches probably included.
For real.
So it feels like with their win, it was, okay, that old era is officially dead, and here is Cignetti and this sort of dawn of a new one, and what does it look like? Are we going to see another Cinderella story next year? We talked about how, at least I felt like Texas Tech this year was kind of where Indiana was at last year, and I expect them to take a full jump forward next college football season. So are we looking at another one where we look at these playoff teams and it's filled with a bunch of people and programs who have traditionally not been very successful? So I think that's good, though. But especially for people in this part of the country, it is change. And change is hard for a lot of folks.
You ain't lying. And if you're, like I said, SEC fan, Big Ten fan, Big 12 fan, the 09, please change your way of thinking, because this is not, as you say, this is not your mom and pop's college football. And if you don't change your mindset, you're going to look up and you're going to say to yourself, man, why in the world is Purdue out here? And I'm throwing teams out, but every college football program at the P4 level should have it. And I say this all the time. You know how strong the word hope is, man.
Yeah.
Just hope. To see that on Monday night and see it, quote unquote, done the right way from a player evaluation, retention standpoint, and execution standpoint, and a team. Dude, we know what talent means in sports. We know what talent means in college football. We're not negating that fact. What we are saying is that it's not the only way. Where relative to in the 80s and the 70s and 80s and 90s, the creme de la creme of programs had all the meats and cheeses. That ain't the case anymore.
I mean, you go back to those old, like, early 2000s Miami Hurricanes, where it's just like the backups ended up being Hall of Famers. Like, that's gone. I don't think that's going to happen ever again, because guys like Frank Gore, they're not going to sit around. They're going to transfer somewhere else.
Patrick, you're not going to have Frank Gore as a freshman sit behind Clinton Portis and average 9 yards a carry as a freshman when Kellen Winslow Jr. is on special teams and Jeremy Shockey is your tight end and Brian McKinney is at tackle and Willis McGahee is a fullback, and then in 2002 he's a Heisman finalist.
Yeah.
Sean Taylor couldn't even see the field in 01 and 02 he's on the field. Andre John, I can go down the list of the greats of those two teams who I personally consider like the best ones that I've seen. You mentioned it. It's just going to be very difficult unless you uncap said cap that you have, and then you can just have endless amounts of money and guys are there backing up, and you can do it that way, which I think that's going to go. I believe we're going to go in that direction. I believe sooner rather than later in the next handful of seasons that you'll have that cap's going to be gone. You're going to just basically say, hey, do what you got to do, or enhance the cap to be able to spend what you want to spend to be able to retain even more players in the world of college football. But you're exactly right. Players want to play, but you want to have players that are quote unquote cut with the right stuff. I remember, I believe it was Louis Riddick on ESPN. He said something years ago that I'll never forget, and he said it in no certain form. Some players love the game of football while others love what football gives to them.
Yeah.
And I just think, and I get it, there are young men in this game and athletes across all collegiate sports that are having to take care of families, having to take care of themselves, and to better their. I want you to have all of it. All of it. I love it. But the competitive nature of what you do, especially on the gridiron, I got a bunch of guys in Indiana that all worked for a common goal, all were getting paid, but all had the right stuff to want to continue to want to compete each and every day when Patrick and I aren't looking, or Indiana fans are not looking, when you're in winter condition, when you're, it sounds very cliche, but you ask any football player worth their salt, those games that you win or lose, I get it from a schematic standpoint, but it's about when we are not there. We don't see it. You think Alex Golish and his staff at Auburn are not right now during winter conditioning and their strength and conditioning coach getting them through workouts right now, winter workouts? You think in their right mind as they're heading into spring, they're not setting the precedent of what he wants? And Kirk Cinetti had to put that in place, and to do it that quickly, but more importantly, do it with guys that were straight dogs from James Madison that went with him, guys that were from other programs, and now having a lot of more P4 transfers, the most he's had heading into year 3. You know the expectation when you come there. You know the expectation when you sign there. So if you don't fit said expectation, and quote unquote what Nick Saban and Tide fans were accustomed to, the standard, you can't play here. And Kirk Cignetti, I personally believe he's one of those guys that I don't care what you're making. If you're not cutting it, come sit by me.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate from him. I think Kirby's the same way. I'm not just isolating Cignetti, but it's just really cool to see. And I couldn't be more in love with the game of college football than I am now. Even though I'm the first to say, Patrick, I definitely would have kept it at 4, right? But you also have to understand, and we always talk about it all the time about evolution, you also have to evolve and understand it's for the greater good of the sport to move to 12 and eventually 16. Now you get to 24, that's ridiculous. Yeah, 16 is, to me, the cap of what it needs to be. But you understand what it means to continue to elevate the sport. You can huff and puff and be mad about, man, we got too many teams. But the numbers speak for themselves. I believe, I think that we saw ESPN PR send out a tweet, and I looked at it, and I meant to mention it on our podcast. I think this was the second most watched college football game ever, in national championship game ever. It was unbelievable how many people watch this from across the board. And it just tells you a lot about, okay, here it is, ESPN PR. The national championship game on Monday, 30.1 million viewers. At its peak, 33.2 million people were watching that game at one time. It's the second most watched college football playoff title game, second best cable telecast ever, and it's the most viewed non-NFL sports event since the 16 World Series Game 7. This is college football, folks.
Yeah.
And we can dance around this all we want. I truly believe that the casual fan that we have now that's in love with this sport, it's because of a number of things that have been put in place with the playoff. Everyone knows there's going to be a national champion. When I was growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, and posters before the BCS era began, and the coaches poll and all those mattered, and media members were picking the teams to be in the playoff, and you didn't know if that team was going to be the national champion, it was going to be a split national champion. People want, when you're watching sports or anything in life, you want some finality to it all, some seamless finality. And what makes NFL great, obviously a global entity, is the competitiveness, how big it is, the marketability of it, the teams you can fall in love with, it's international. But the playoffs, as you mentioned, you say it all the time, You said the first year we started this, you were like, I'm going to give this a go, but I just want a finality to it all. So we know that we have a national champion, and we know these are the teams that are going to the playoff, and we're going to officially crown a national championship in a bracket-style format. And I think a lot more fans, whether we want to believe it or not, it draws you more there because there's more viability with teams across the country instead of being so regionalized in a regionalized sport, which some people miss, and I understand that, but understand it's for the greater good of the game. That's what makes it so unique, and that's what makes college football so great. It's the best it's ever been. We can dance around this all we want. College football right now on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 is the best it's ever been from a product standpoint of all time. And it's only going to get better.
Yeah, and I think though there will be a lot of case studies that are done about Indiana from a roster building perspective, but I also think there's going to be some studies done just about the psychology of how you build a winning culture, because unlike guys like Saban or Kirby Smart, yes, Alabama was in the dumps when Saban kind of came in, but they had national championships in the 90s. Right. They had a Bear Bryant legacy. Kirk Cinetti comes in. This team was 3-9 the year before he got hired. And he talked about the biggest thing he had to do was just convince people that they could win. Convince people, with the I win, the Google me, but not just to the players, but to the boosters, to the administration. Like, there is something to be said about the specialness of convincing a group of people that you can turn your circumstances around. I think there was like a true American story with this Indiana team that people gravitated towards.
Just on my phone really quick, because I just wanted to pull up some of the numbers in reference to what you were just saying. They were the fastest team to 700 losses in college football history, dog.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you just because I'm right outside born and raised outside the Louisville area. I've been to Indiana, been to the stadium, and been to media days and whatnot there. Watched that team play. Patrick, I'm telling you, I remember looking. I was like, I only remember one winning season that program has had in my life. And I looked, and it was like 1991. Dude, they have, prior to this year, 3 bowl wins ever. These cats done won 3 games in the college football playoff in 1 year.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, and that's why people are just celebrating this team and this program, because it just didn't seem it was possible. And to see it all come together from a foundational support aspect is what makes this great, as you mentioned. Indiana could have went got the hotshot assistant. Indiana could have went got, the hotshot offensive defensive coordinator at, the national championship program or one of the top 10 programs in college football. They took the leap of faith and said, man, we want that guy that's going to be able to have an elite keen eye on talent, as I mentioned, evaluation, and how it would fit what he wants to do. And they're reaping the benefits of it. I just hope, as you mentioned when you're discussing case studies, I just hope that programs that are in search in the next decade for college football coaches, newsflash, your Kirby Smarts, your Nick Sabans, your John Summeralls, your Tosh LaPoys, whomever it may be, go look at their coaching tree. Look where they started. Look where they came from. I hate to tell you all this. I understand boosters and people that are handing out dollars and cents have a say in this hiring process and how this works. Newsflash, there are really good elite college football coaches at the FCS level. There are really good college football coaches across the country at the D2 level. May behoove programs to maybe go there that can evaluate and find talent and help them continue to enhance your program, especially if you're looking for a new head coach or trying to turn your program around in a quick instant there. So, man, it was just so fun to watch. It just was a memorable season for us across the board. Is there any moment, any play, anything that stuck out to you during the college football season? You're like, man, like I can't forget that. Or was it more about like just Indiana and the way they play? Like I think the catch, everyone will discuss the catch from Indiana in the back of the end zone against Penn State. That was a memorable one because, like you say, if they lose that game, they're still probably going to be they're going to be in the playoff, but it just looks different, at 16-0 relative to 15-1 or what that could.
And maybe Mendoza doesn't win the Heisman if that happens.
That is fair.
It could be a Diego Pavia who had much better stats. Because at that point, there would have only been a couple of losses that separate them. I think Fernando, it was the big-time moments in the fact that his team was undefeated. And also, shout out to him because he had the entire Raiders brass on the sidelines. And we've seen a lot of players who shrink in those moments. And, yeah, he didn't have a classic sort of game from a statistical standpoint. But you talk about the 4th and 5 draw. You talk about the fact dude's got a bloody lip. He's hanging in there. He's beat to hell. And at the end, he makes the plays, and his team wins the national championship.
Patrick Fernando Mendoza went 16 of 27. He had 186 yards, no touchdowns, throwing, no interceptions. Of course, the rushing touchdown to give the go-ahead lead in the fourth quarter. With all of that, we discussed it a couple weeks ago. This notion that you got to throw it 40 times is arguably the most asinine thing I had to do. There may be times where you have to call on that. That man throws between 20 and 25 times a game. He threw 27 this time. His completion percentage was 59%. He had a passer rating of 117. But he played winning football.
You know who's going to love him?
Who?
Tom Brady.
100%.
Tom Brady's going to love him. Who, if you don't know, is a minority owner with the Vegas Raiders who have the number 1 pick in the draft.
I have a hard time believing that Fernando Mendoza won't be successful in the National Football League.
I think he has a very high floor. I also think he has a very high ceiling.
Yes.
I see him as like a Matt Ryan type of...
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to be a megastar.
No.
But just a sure-handed guy that's played a lot of football, that's seen it all, and that really wants to be great at it. See, that's the difference. Like I say, it goes back to, some people want to compete in the NFL. Some people love what the NFL brings to them. I don't think he's one of those guys. He really legitimately wants to be a structural, foundational piece to the Raiders organization to be able to kind of take them out of the doldrums. And it won't be easy. It won't be overnight, but that's one hell of a way to start with that guy. Like, what else do you need? PR dream, all of the peripherals around Fernando Mendoza. And by the way, the main thing that truly matters, he can play.
He can play. And his stardom will be something that will be a little quirky and will be a little different. And you will be able to appeal to a different type of fan, or maybe a different type of fan who is used to the stars of the National Football League being guys like Aaron Rodgers or, these dudes who were like hyper brash, hyper kind of confident at the quarterback position. And I think Fernando, with his little, let's flip and go, although dropped an F-bomb.
He did.
He got a little.
I said, ooh.
He got, hey,
Hey, but he was, what?
He's getting ready to go to Vegas.
Hey, big dog. You saw the socials. The socials told me he was down at South Beach that night. Had the old bottle girls.
Hey, little Uzi Vert was on the sideline. Got him in Mendoza jersey.
Uzi Vert out there.
I think there's some there's a side of Mendoza that maybe we haven't seen. Did you hear about the Heisman Trophy story? Ricky Williams blew up a spot.
Okay, hold on. So I didn't click on it to hear the audio, but I saw that Ricky was talking about. I was like, why are you talking about Fernando Mendoza? I was out, of course, Ricky Williams, the great Ricky Williams at Texas, Heisman Trophy winner. Unbelievable football player at the collegiate and high school, pro level. I saw it, but tell me what it was. I saw it, but I didn't click on it to hear the audio.
So Fernando asked the Heisman Commission if he could get bios for all the Heisman candidates because he wanted to know all these guys' names, all this stuff. So Ricky Williams went on a podcast and said basically he introduced himself, said it was a nice kid, but he overheard Mendoza talking to Tebow, and Mendoza said, "I'm about to have to get into girls. Do you have any advice for me?" So, just I found that quite hilarious, and Tebow being quite the guy to answer that question. So,
that's real.
That was, I mean, I don't know why Ricky Williams would lie about that. I don't know why you would make that up.
Nando.
Something tells me he's going to be just fine when it comes to that.
What?
Yeah. He's going to have almost, he'll have $30 million.
Ooh, doggy.
Come pretty
Well, $30 million will make a whole lot of things different, don't it?
It will make it.
Ooh, make a whole lot.
Sure, you can find some interesting ways to spend that in Las Vegas as well. But he's not. He's going to look first one in, last one out. Nose to the grindstone. That's Mendoza. The Mendoza way.
You can have a balance.
You can get a purple Mustang drop top.
Oh, that
Side the street.
that purple Mustang. But I was like,
Yeah.
Skyline. Shout out to Fernando Mendoza. He just is I don't normally say this all the time because it's kind of like an ad nauseum thing when you hear it so many times, but like, oh my gosh, he's such a breath of fresh. But he legitimately was a breath of fresh air because I truly believe that's who he is.
Yeah, I don't think
That's what makes it cool.
Yeah.
Man, but I mean, you also are good at football, throwing it from, boundary to field side and field side to boundary and not throwing interceptions and completion percentage and all of the things. So we're happy for you. But here we go. I know everyone's excited. Can you get excited from all of these 52,000 2026 way too early top 25s? We don't even know what these rosters look like. And here we are out here doing way too earlys. USA Today released theirs earlier this week. Here's their top 5. Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, Indiana, Notre Dame. Do you have right now off the top of your head in your mind when you don't know anything about maybe besides 3 of the top 5 teams? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me go back really quick. I just want to make sure. Did they have Georgia in there? Okay, cool. 3 of the top 5 teams. How do you know?
Yeah.
What? Like what? If you get back to us like here in, next 70 days, spring practice, what the rosters are there that you kind of look and see what players, where they played for, kind of see some of their
And also, that doesn't mean anything either. No one had Indiana win a national championship, so none of it's all for, podcast fodder like this.
Here's what I will say though. I think it's safe to say if you just have to close your eyes and throw something on the wall and hope that it sticks. I think you can say Texas is going to be a player, Georgia's going to be a player, Indiana's going to be a player yet again, Notre Dame's going to be a player. We can dance around this all we want. Here's what I would say about the team that I root for in South Bend, Indiana. So they had Marcus Freeman on the telecast. I don't know if you saw the game-day stuff. And he basically laid out, and this has been the mantra since they had their first meeting in 2026, just reading fodder, is to leave no doubt. I said something in the newsroom, and I was saying it to some buddies in a big text chat. And I hadn't said it in our text chat, but I said it to some buddies. I said, either it's going to be one of 3 things. Either you're a fan of the Irish and you're going to love everything that happens next year. You have absolute disdain for the Irish and you're going to be really mad next year. Or you're not a fan of Notre Dame, but may either really despise them or really love them. Because I truly believe with whatever Marcus Freeman has mentioned or what he said in public, he's had this mantra about leave no doubt. Their schedule's awful. They're going to try to hang 60 points on every single team that they play next year. And it's going to be absolutely, for some, disgusting and ridiculous. They haven't played anybody. And in turn, actually their roster relative to all the other rosters with a lot of other questions is actually intact relative to what other teams have lost and what they retain and what they've added. So it's going to be very interesting. I think the big storyline for me, because we don't know anything regarding these conferences. I'm just really interested within the Southeastern Conference and what this truly looks like. Texas is going to be far and away the pick to win it in the preseason within the SEC. They're going to be basically 90% of the country's favorite heading into the year because of what they added, what they returned, how well Arch played down the stretch. There's a handful of teams just from a adding standpoint within the portal that are for real going to be trying to go for this thing. And to me, Texas is legitimately numero uno about trying to just go get it. Hollywood Smothers and Cam Coleman and obviously what Arch was able to do.
You better hope you win, Sark.
Yeah, Ryan Wingo bookending him, Cam Coleman. Man.
Because there was a guy in Happy Valley that was up pretty high in the preseason rankings, and he didn't have a job coming into the season. So,
and here he is at Virginia Tech, which sneaky Virginia Tech may be old 8-9 win team first year down to old Blacksburg. You never know. Yep. But yeah, I mean, what are we going? I mean, it's good fodder. What are we going to do with these? Where is Alabama? I just want to see where Alabama is at in this USA Today. They have them at 11. I've seen anything from 11 now through 18, 19 I like that.
18, 19 seems too low.
Come on, y'all. If you think Kalen DeBoer is not going to be able to adjust, adapt, and figure out maybe what went wrong, what did wrong, like, I don't know, 9-3 year one, 11 wins and a playoff win in year two. Got a fair assumption, safe assumption that
and
okay.
Lost to the national
They
champions.
lost to the national champions.
So there you go.
Like, what are we doing? So yeah, it was just an amazing year. I hate that it's gone, but it's almost like you want to. I wish I could have it all the time, but it was one of the best college football seasons. But my love affair with the game of college football has never been higher, and I'm just excited to see where this goes heading into next year. Really quick note heading into tomorrow, there's going to be a decision on potentially expanding the college football playoff. From all indication, it appears that probably nothing's going to get done. Kind of table it for maybe another year and beyond. But eventually, we're going to get to 16 teams. I think that's the SEC allegedly won 16, Big Ten and Tony Petitti, and then won 24. I think they meet with a beautiful marriage in the middle. I think we get to 16 eventually, heading into the next couple of seasons. But that's on the table for that. And, of course, players that are still not signed within the transfer portal, that are in the portal after it's closed, still trying to find homes and land homes. And, of course, Mensa from Duke, that fiasco of trying to go to Miami, Duke saying, hell to the no, you're not going there, we got your rights. How do you make that up? We didn't even mention Damon Williams at Washington, who tried to make his way out of Washington after signing a $4+ million deal, ended up having to stay there. I don't know what the hell that looks like as you go back into that locker room in winning condition. There's going to be we're going to have some come to Jesuses. If I'm a player, we're going to have some come to Jesus. You can't have them to come back because you ain't coming back on your own free will. You come back because you had to come back. So now you got to try to figure this out. As talented as you are and a team that could be a playoff team next year under Coach Fish, now you got to try to smooth that over. Which leads me into one Charles Bediako at Alabama. I just want to get your initial thoughts on when you heard the news earlier this week that Charles Bediako, after leaving Alabama after his sophomore year in 2023, being eligible immediately due to a temporary restraining order to be able to play this week. I do want to add this caveat before I send it to you. Nate Oates, during a meeting with media members today, we'll hear from him entirety tomorrow, saying that Bediako did practice today, tweaks something, hurt. We'll see his game time decision on Saturday. We'll see what that looks like. But just your reaction to when you heard that Charles Bediako was eligible to play immediately for Alabama after signing not one, not two, but 3 NBA contracts, now playing officially in the National Basketball Association, but rather in the G League and moving forward.
If we thought that the college football roster thing was a fiasco, this college basketball thing is. I do not understand how something like this is possible. I don't want to use the word right because I don't know if anything's right or wrong, but like to me, the players in college football transferring, that feels at least along the lines of the spirit of what this should be. And with college basketball, it feels like maybe this is not the spirit, quote unquote, of what we want this to be. I don't know if you should be able to go play in a G League, which fundamentally is a higher, it's a higher professional league than what college basketball is, talent wise, and then be able to come back down. Like I don't.
The math ain't mathing.
It ain't. It feels a little icky.
Yes.
Feels icky.
Yes, because Patrick, if you take $10, you take it up to the Magic Mile. We're in Huntsville, Alabama, for those that are watching, the 7 people across the world. If you go down Highway 231 and you go to the Magic Mile at the lottery and you put your $10 on the table to try to play that Mega Millions of Powerball and you don't win, and you go back to that store the next day and you say, wait, I didn't win, but can I get my $10 back because I didn't win the jackpot? I got a question. You think they're going to give it back to you?
No.
You can't, for whatever reason you declare for the NBA draft, trying to take care of your family, trying to do what's best for you. It's the life that you live when you make said decision parents have always said that you people that you confide in, you make a decision, there are consequences to every decision you make, good, bad, or indifferent. No matter if you're any human being on the earth, that's how this works. You can't declare for the NBA draft. You don't get drafted. You're in the G League. You made money in the G League. And then because you still have one semester left of eligibility, you're able to come back per injunctions and TROs, temporary restraining orders from county judges within these markets where these universities are housed. And no one thinks that's okay. Every coach in their right mind, any competitive advantage that you can get, 1,000,000% do it. That's within the rules of the game. But you have to ask yourself, I believe those that maybe know Charles or are affiliated with Charles or know he played at Alabama, if you're a player in that locker room and all those 220 wind sprints you was doing and all that lifting and all that conditioning and all that stuff you doing, and you are a post guy at Alabama and a guy that's a post comes into your locker room, how you think some of them players feel?
Right.
Now, I did all this, coach, and we done balled out together, good, bad, or indifferent. We all we got. And now you going to say, hey, by the way, we believe this can help your team, which he can. But what that look like? You think rotational stretch four, center, point guard, insert position there would be thrilled that somebody's coming in and taking your minutes? You think if Patrick Akers is on that team and you're getting a ton of minutes and your boy is there at Bette position and he looks and you see your homeboy getting his minutes cut out of nowhere because of an opportunity to bring someone, we all human. Who wants that? Those are the things that you all have to navigate, that programs have to navigate. And Bette won, but the Najee kid at Baylor actually played last week. There's going to be more guys that are going to try to test this. Bette case is going to be finalized as far as what we're going to find out if this can hold up or not next Tuesday. It just is a terrible look for college basketball to allow these man, could you imagine, like, if somebody just said, hey, man, Derrick Henry left after his junior year, he can come back to Alabama. Bro, what?
Or like, can LeBron James come to
just
college?
play all 4 years? Can LeBron James go and play all 4 years?
So it's just, this is not, I think, what people intended, but also this is what happens when you don't have rules in place.
Wild, Wild West.
So, a lot of folks got shot in the street in the Wild West before some law.
Man,
so.
What you said, all them westerns my dad used to watch, there's a whole lot of cats down bad out there in the dirt.
Yep.
All you just saw was old saloon things flapping in the wind, boy, yep. just out of there. Before we go, I wanted to mention, first of all, I don't know how I even want to address this, but I'm going to address it because I feel some type of way that he's in his feelings about this. The Tennessee Titans have a new head coach. It's Robert Saleh.
This is where we're going. All right.
We'll talk. We'll end with sunshine in a minute because I ain't like what you said. I agree.
Okay.
I agree with you.
All right.
But at the same time, Robert Saleh, new Titans head coach, in the building today, signed his official contract, 5 years, looking for an offensive coordinator. Just on the surface level, relative to his success as a DC, do you like the move? Are you still a little apprehensive? Do you want to see what his offensive play caller is going to look like before you say stamp of approval?
I just love how the Titans organization said, you know what this franchise needs? It needs a tough, player-centric, defensive-minded head coach who can come in and build a culture and blah, 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 blah. This is exactly what we had with Mike Vrabel. We did it again. Why did we fire him then?
That's why I can't push back on that. I cannot.
This is nothing against Robert Saleh. This is a franchise that hopefully maybe now has some adults in the room, but historically has not had any because we just went full circle.
Full circle, bro.
And
that guy's playing on Sunday.
And going to make the Super Bowl.
They're going to make the Super Bowl.
So, again, I think Robert Saleh got a raw deal in New York. I don't know if anybody can win in the Jets. He is a tremendous defense coordinator from everything I've read. People absolutely love playing for this guy. Will run through a wall for him. Obviously, I think he charms some people in that Titans organization because I think the franchise was leaning Matt Nagy, which I would have been very, very upset about if we went with Matt Nagy. But I think Saleh got in the building, got in the interview, and did what he did. Now he's the Titans head coach. I want to see who his offensive coordinator is going to be.
Yeah.
But, on one hand, I'm like, yeah, he's positive. On the other, I look at his Pro Football Reference, and he's 20-36 as a head coach.
Come on, bro. Don't do that.
And
don't do that. So hold on. Those defenses for the Jets, top 5.
I think in one of these stats, over the last 3 games, they gave up 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, dog.
So,
and on that side of football, you got something to work with.
We do.
Young little pups out there that play hard.
Again, though, this is just...
Why do we have to go here?
Why did we do this? We
could have been well on our way.
We could have just stayed with the guy that we had.
Maybe they've learned from their errors of past. You're about to open a new stadium in 27. Everything could be good. Question. All you want to see, I'm putting words in your mouth. I just want you to say them from yourself. All you want to see with this 2026 group is just them playing consistently hard and not making unbelievable, egregious errors. No matter the win. You don't care about the wins.
I don't want to be embarrassed calling myself a Titans fan. That's it. I think at the root of any fandom, that's really all that you want. I want to see a team and a franchise that is committed to a process of eventually hoisting a Lombardi trophy. And
I like that. That's really good.
Under Callahan, we did not have that. Under some of these other people that we've had, other general managers, like with Vrabel and Ryan, we had that. We were going in that direction, and then something happened. Maybe with Chad Brinker now being in an organization, essentially pseudo running the organization for Miss Amy, with Borgonzi, who this past draft I think hit on a lot of draft picks.
Yes, he did.
So I will give them. I'm not going to quit. What am I going to do? Quit being a Titan?
You can't quit them, man.
Quit them. But I just want to watch a competitive team on Sundays. I don't think that's a lot to ask for.
No, I think they're going to be very competitive. Listen, to me, I don't know this because, obviously, you kind of know outside of the draft what players are going to be there, but outside of a few moves here or there. Here's what I will tell you, in my personal opinion, even just New York Jets fans can say this firsthand. They're not going to play hard on that side of the football. They're going to be highly competitive. It's just offensively what you're going to be able to do to kind of continue to evolve and continue to develop a franchise quarterback in Cam Ward. I think they're going to be highly competitive. I think if they lose football games, it's solely from a personnel perspective. They just don't have the people within the 53-man roster that are either ready to do that in its entirety, week in and week out, or just inferior relative to some of the teams that they're going to play. But the playing hard part, I know they go top 10 in total defense heading into the year. And that's all you can ask for. You just want a stepping stone. And then you get into the new stadium. Who's to say it turns into an 8-8, 9-7, 10? You never know. But I get what you're saying. It does. Listen, as a proud San Francisco 49er fan, the goods have far outweighed the bads in my lifetime. But we've had some bad groups there for 3 to 5 years span. So I understand where you're coming from. I just think you got the right guy, and I think you got a guy that actually has a fair shake to be successful.
Got 7 kids.
Sound like I got 7 babies?
Yeah. 7 kids. So listen.
7 babies.
He knows how to command a room, obviously.
Okay, man. All right.
Well, I meant with the kids. I didn't mean what you meant.
Okay, yeah. I was like, man, where you going, man?
I thought you wanted to talk about the playoffs, and can we hit on Josh Allen just real quick?
Yeah, I want you to hit on Josh Allen. I want to see where this is going.
Okay, multiple things can be true at once, right?
Oh, here we go. You better not take it.
No. Listen, it can be true that Josh Allen does not have enough talent on his team surrounding him. It can also be true that Josh Allen cost them that football game.
Absolutely. I'm cool.
So everybody just needs to just take a chill pill, relax. He's going to be okay. I do not think they should have fired the coach because I think a lot of organizations and franchises this coming football season are going to find out it's incredibly hard to win in this league, and sometimes it involves a ton of luck. And if Brandon Cooks comes down with that football, this is a completely different story.
Correct.
Sean McDermott, whatever you want to say about him, he won 67% of his games as a head coach. That puts him in rarefied air. Now, he does not have the postseason success to go with that, but you're going to find somebody else to come in that's going to do better than that? Because that's what you're banking. That's what the Ravens are banking on. That's what the Steelers are banking on. That's what the Bills are banking on. That this fundamentally, as a organization, we have built this infrastructure in a way to where we can just go find another coach to plug into this thing with a different mindset, and we will ascend where we have been. And I just think they're going to be in for a rude awakening. That's all.
Do you think that they add any more offensive weapons to make his life easier moving forward?
Well, they should, but the guy who was in charge of picking said weapons, Brandon Bean, got promoted. So obviously the ownership said that he did a good job. If I was an NFL owner, I said this in the group chat, general managers and head coaches, they come in and they get hired, they get fired together. It's a marriage. I'm going to divorce both of you. I ain't picking sides.
Man.
Both of you's going. So that's all I'll say.
Did you like Pagula in the press conference earlier this week?
No.
That was really bad.
I thought it was cornballish. How about you just keep some stuff to yourself too, by the way?
I ain't gonna go that far, dog. You went for the straight jugular, my bro.
Just like,
yeah, I didn't get all that.
Yeah,
I didn't get all that. But my biggest question is that tells me something internally that we don't, obviously, and rightfully so, we don't know about.
Right.
Something was amiss there. Not just after this game, as he mentioned, I made my decision up. No, you were leaning toward this before the season. Last season, you leaned toward this.
I think Josh Allen didn't stick up for McDermott, and that's the sole reason why he's fired. Because if he had, McDermott should be the head coach.
I can go with that. Sometimes people say things and say a lot. When you're the owner of that proud franchise, the Buffalo Bills, are out here talking about, I saw my quarterback in the locker room, tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
So you're saying Josh had something to do with this, huh? You had to say all that. I saw my quarterback. He couldn't even speak. I'm just paraphrasing here. I have an old saying. Somebody told me, my cousin still back in Arkansas, said, you're not going to pee down my back and say it's raining.
Yeah.
Sports fans are way smarter than what many give them credit for. I just
hope you do better. You won 5 division titles. You made the playoffs 8 and 9 years.
You losing to Patrick Mahomes. That's the reason why you don't have Super Bowls. You losing to Patrick Mahomes. That's where we're at with this franchise. We could be, if there's no Patrick Mahomes, we may be looking at Josh Allen and for real rarefied air.
Yeah, I mean, he has now, I said this I think last season, he is, I think, the tragic American sports figure in sports right now in this country. I mean, it's Elway-esque. So maybe he has a...
I ain't going to go that far, player.
Well, I mean, you have to, much like Elway, like you just said, if there was no Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen would be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And a lot of those playoff losses, not this last one, but a lot of them are not Josh Allen's fault. The 13-second game is not his fault.
No.
They changed the rule because of it. And I think he is a likable guy. I do think the media has had soft gloves
100%.
Around him in a way that they would not have had this been
Correct.
Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts.
Correct. 2 things can be true.
2 things can be true at the same time. I do think he is an incredible talent, but again, like, that was his fault. And I think that's why he was so upset. The reason they put the ball in his hands with 13 seconds left to go at halftime is because they were like, oh, Josh Allen's not going to make that mistake. And then he made the mistake. And then he missed Dawson Knox on the over that would have sealed the game. And so that's why he was upset, because he knew he didn't play well. He's not stupid. But now they'll have a new head coach. We'll see if, much like Elway, Josh Allen at some point is able to get the proverbial monkey off of his back. But
remember the Elway years when he won, it was at the end, like it literally was the last 2 years of his career. They were willing witness for John. John was on one leg.
And if you look at the young up and comers, the Patriots may already be here. They could be winning the Super Bowl. Caleb Williams and the Bears. Mahomes will be back.
With Eric Bieniemy as his OC again.
So it's gonna be tough sledding.
Last question I'm gonna throw out here to you because it just makes my heart feel so good. You put in the text, our chat, our big friend chat. Why you got something against Trevor Lawrence being an MVP?
Because there's like 6 dudes who are more deserving to be.
Why is Josh Allen?
He's not gonna win.
Why is Josh Allen in there then?
Josh Allen had a good regular season. This is a regular season award.
Trevor Lawrence didn't have a good regular season?
Trevor Lawrence had pedestrian numbers, 4,000 yards. Why is Caleb Williams not in this discussion? Why is Jackson Smith and Jigman not in this discussion? Why is Myles Garrett as a defensive end? If you want to talk about most valuable player, the Browns might have not won a single game had it not been for Myles Garrett.
I agree. I just want to make sure we got Christian McCaffrey, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May.
Not deserving. Deserving.
You don't think Drake May should be in there?
Yeah, I do. The only person who should not be in that is Trevor Lawrence.
No, man.
Why is Bo Nixon not in there?
If you're going to take Trevor Lawrence out, you need to take Josh Allen out.
No, because Josh Allen got his team to a better record, and you would say that Trevor Lawrence has more talent around him than what Josh Allen does.
That's fair.
Why is Bo Nix not an MVP finalist?
I don't think Trevor Lawrence should have been in the MVP race, but we all two things can be true. We could also say that Trevor Lawrence has solidified himself as a bona fide franchise top 10 quarterback in a 32-team league that I have been saying since the start of his career. I just wanted to get that out because I like the
What happened the last play of the Jaguar season?
Yeah, he got tipped. Great play by a defensive back. That's what happened. Oh, hold on.
Down his interception.
Hold on. You just went on this diatribe about one Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
We out here talk about a guy that Trevor, I knew you had it in you, big dog.
If Trevor will cut his hair, I'll come around.
He got a grill. You should love him now. He's got a full grill in his mouth.
No, the hair is
Trevion.
The hair is stupid.
Trevion.
The hair is cool when you're 17. Get a buzz cut like a man, Trevor Lawrence.
You ain't like this man. And I said ain't.
I've never. Yes.
You ain't like this man since
Yes, I'll agree. Yeah,
he
everybody
told you. He
knows
said
that.
generation. He's a franchise guy. He proved that with a coach. Hold on. Do you not think they're gonna be better? Do you not think they're gonna be better next year? They're gonna be even better. Because they got a mutant that's gonna come back next year that I don't know where he's gonna play, but people forget that he ain't have that guy. Do you think Brian Thomas's life is gonna be a little bit better with that guy out there wide out? I'm just saying, Trevor, I knew you had it in you, big dog. I knew you did. Now I just want to make sure I got a quarterback that's got a lightning bolt on the side of his helmet that people since day one, since 2020, told me, oh man, Justin Herbert like it. Now all the excuses are moved to the side of the table because I know you got one of the most elite play callers in all of pro football at your disposal and one of the best young running backs at your disposal, one of the best offensive lines at your disposal. I don't want to hear any more excuses. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to hear any more excuses. I said it from the start. Trevor, quarterback lightning bolts.
Don't be say it's Justin Herbert. Don't be disrespectful like that.
I'm just saying.
Justin Herbert.
I'm just saying. That's what I was told. I need to be the quarterback whisperer. I be picking these quarterbacks. I'm good at that. I'm good at these QBs.
Didn't you go all in on CJ Stroud? Weren't you like he's going to be a star?
Nah, I never said that. I said, here's what I did say. I said Jalen Hurts. I remember I was with you and a friend of ours was in your office years ago, and I said Jalen Hurts may not never be a top whatever court, but he'll get you to some Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And then of course we know Caleb Williams. I'm gonna down that Caleb Williams hill. Try to tell everybody. Nobody want to leave. And guess what? If you think he was good there, probably gonna be I'll put a little squadoosh. If I could do some squadoosh here in this state on Caleb being MVP next year.
This is probably not bad odds. He could have been a finalist this year over Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, you're right. I just want to throw out how well Trevor Lawrence played.
Puka Nacua could have been a finalist.
Yeah. If we're being real about it, Myles Garrett, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith, and Jigba,
Bo
they
Nix.
should be in there. I don't know about Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix, he should have.
Number one seed?
He should have. I'm just saying, like, if there were 10 guys that instead of the whatever they had, Trevor would be 9 or 10 or outside the. I get that, but no disrespect because he's played well. He balled. I love it.
All right.
I love it. Yeah, and I want his hair to be even longer. Get some more Head and Shoulders commercials. So don't you got a Head and Shoulders commercial like Palomalu?
Yeah. And then he's got one.
Trevor.
He got one with
my
Trevor.
dog. Love you, man. Keep balling. He just a hater. Like, subscribe, Take After Takes on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. You can find us on our website, WFF.com. You can find us on our sports app, WFF 48 Sports Zone app there as well. Of course, you can hear the audio version of this. The video version will be on YouTube as well, coming up later tomorrow. So, yeah, we're excited about the NFL playoffs, NFC Championship. Give me your winners real quick before we get off here. Who's headed to the Super Bowl?
Seahawks, Patriots.
Okay, I'll go Patriots, Rams, because I think Stafford's going to hoop. I think he's going to play really well. And I think Sam Darnold, who I always give a lot of my ire for Sam Darnold. He's very talented, but I think that if anybody can go in that place to win, it's obviously them. So yeah, I'll go Rams, Patriots, and then we'll talk Super Bowl here in a couple of weeks. For producer Pat, I'm Carl Prather. Folks, we'll see you back here next week.